Something as prestigious as being a judge. You know what? I'll forego that to chase this dream.
And so for all of this, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Judge Vinny. We are live. It is Wednesday, March 24th. Today is the 24th or the 25th? 24th. Thank you for joining us. We are coming to you live on Facebook, coming to you live on YouTube. Please make sure if you're on YouTube, you subscribe. If you're on Facebook, like, share the video. Also subscribe as well because there's algorithm and all kinds of stuff like that that keeps people from watching stuff. We were off last week. I was doing lawyer stuff. I'm still a lawyer. But we wanted to come back this week, and I have 2/3 of my staff with me. Let's jump right in. I want to bring Jess and Michael right into chambers with me because what we want to do is open up the floor to our viewers. Jess, thanks for coming on. Michael, thanks for being with me. Yeah, we want to make this as interactive as possible with the audience. So we want you guys to chime in and you can ask any of us questions. Jess is going to keep an eye on the comments because I can't see and I still don't have context. And Jess is going to kill me even more.
Oh my God, don't tell me that you haven't set up your iPhone yet.
Okay, see, she already knew. So I got a new iPhone. How many, was it 3 weeks ago?
It's like 5 years ago, Vince.
3 weeks ago, I got a new iPhone, and I'm so afraid of switching from my current iPhone to the new iPhone because I want everything to transfer, and I literally need to sit there and do nothing but this. So it's not even like and it probably takes all of 5 minutes. I know it takes 5 minutes. But for me, this is like a very stressful thing. I don't know if some of you have separation anxiety going from one phone to another phone.
I got so upset about that. I kicked myself out of the studio.
I know. Just can't hear it.
Sorry.
So if you let us know if you have anxiety switching from phone to phone, because I have complete anxiety over it. I want to make sure that all the texts go to the other phone, and then people tell me there's a cloud. Vin, what are you doing? It just goes to the cloud.
Richard Nashme says, "Is it Nashme says hi?"
Yes, Rich. Thank
Marshall
you for joining.
Cusick,
Oh, Marshall.
from Spokane.
Marshall's awesome. I met Marshall back 20 years ago when I was sending care packages to the troops. He actually came to the Laugh Factory. Saw me perform there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, fellow military person such as yourself.
Hey, Marshall. Deb
was
says
always
hi.
in.
Hey, you said you couldn't read, so stop interrupting me, okay?
Yeah.
Let me do my job. Avis Tammy, hello from Jersey. Jersey's in the house.
Oh, Jersey's always in the house. I went back on stage this weekend, did a couple live shows. Great to be in front of an audience again. Michael, did you do your thing? Did you get up yet?
I got pumped, and then I kind of forgot about it. I've been really busy the last couple weeks. So,
Michael, get on stage.
Michael's been busy getting his hair cut.
Yes, look at him. He's all cleaned up. Oh my God. How about you, Jess? Have you been getting up?
No.
No, yeah, I know.
No, I am not. I am not going out during COVID.
Oh, that's right. You still have that. Now, I'm going back out. I have another live thing for May 6th, which actually is being run by one of our former guests, Kara Burrell, is doing a fundraiser. Yeah, she's doing a fundraiser
I have to do
for
a
homeless.
shout out to Kara because she sent me a pair of iPods, and I have not set those up because.
So who's that setting things up?
Yes.
And how long ago did you get them?
About the same time you got your iPhone.
Okay. All right. So there it is.
Yeah. Anita says hello. Hi, Anita.
So one of the things I wanted to jump in
Thank
on.
you, Kara.
We had a quick thing that we were talking before we started is one of the things I noticed just in general and being out in public, nobody wants to talk about news in a news way. Now they love the comedy when you're making fun of stuff that happened. I think it was only a couple people that were turned off by some of my jokes or whatever.
Explain what you mean.
Yes, so you can make fun of the news in a comedic way from stage.
Okay.
Because my material and it was a brand new hour, and I was really pleased with how it went. The audience Friday was super receptive. Saturday there was a heckler, and I had to change gears. I went very improv, but it was really well received in terms of making fun of the news. However, what I'm noticing when hanging out with people, nobody wants to talk about politics. Nobody wants to talk about anything serious at all.
You know what I think? I think people are exhausted.
Yeah.
I think we are all exhausted.
With everything. And look, the numbers are showing. CNN's numbers have plummeted. You've seen, Fox News numbers are down. Ben checking in.
Hi, Ben.
And look, we just talked about how the Grammys took an 11 million viewer hit from last year to this year.
Why do you think that was? Why do you think that was? Let's talk about it.
I'm going to tell you this. Here's my impression of why people are tuning out of award shows. And I think if there was ever a year to take a year off from award shows, I think this is the year. And my reasoning is this. People are just trying to get back to work. There were people that 33 million people lost jobs at one point. People are living off of unemployment. To have people sitting at home that aren't working, watch people that are not only working, but making millions of dollars.
Jeff Bezos made $77 billion.
Right. And then hand each other trophies because they're working and doing really well at their job. I think people are just like, and my attitude is, if there was a year to skip awards, I think we're seeing this would be the year to do it based on the numbers, based on the reaction.
Yeah.
Maybe this was a year for the industry. And listen, at the industry, that's fine if you want to do your thing. But obviously, the public at large is just like, we're not.
I think we're all just desperate to get back to normal.
Yeah, people just want to work. So I think people just, they don't want to see. All right, you're working, you're making millions. You got to give each other a trophy too, really? I just want my $1,400 check, and you guys are giving each other trophies. So I think I think that's the reason. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I mean, did either one of you watch Golden Globes or Grammys?
I did not.
I watched the Grammys. I had to go to bed early that night, and I thought that I was only going to watch like 10 minutes. But it was actually really engaging for me. I thought the performance.
Don't you always go to bed early?
Yeah, I'm an old soul, Jess.
He's younger than us. He's in bed before either one of us, Jess. Isn't that
guaranteed? You'll never make it in comedy.
So you're a Grammy.
Isn't that already evident?
Yeah. So Michael, so you watch the Grammys pretty much always?
No, I just this year it was like I happened to have some free time and I went on and like.
So you were the opposite.
Yeah, no, I normally don't watch the Grammys, but there was a couple like my generation artists like Post Malone, Lil Baby. I don't know if you guys know.
I don't even know who they are.
I listen to their music and
I have no clue.
I also knew that it was going to be very political this year, and part of me wanted to watch it because I wanted to have like a preface before I saw all the reactions, because there's some conservative personalities that I listened to and I knew they were going to throw a fit. So I was like watching it so that I could like listen to what they had to say.
So what was it political? I'll be honest, I didn't watch. Was it political?
I don't think it was. I mean, I think it was just entertainment. I think that the conservative media like profits off of making it seem more political than it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I caught up in the aftermath. So I saw like the Cardi B thing that they were like, oh my God, they were grinding. I'm like, yeah, that wasn't what.
Yeah, it's like the song.
Oh, sorry, what was that? Were you trying to sing a song?
I was like, yeah, that's. I'm like that. I was like, I was like not like bothered by what she did. I was like, should I be offended by this?
One of my last shows that I did, I was asking. It was New Year's Eve 2019, and I was like, what was that song? 1999, right? And this guy goes, oh yeah, Prince sang that. And I'm like, yeah, but how did it go? It just says that, how did it go? And half the audience started going,
1999.
Yeah, it was hysterical. I was like, oh my God, you couldn't ask for anything better. So I'm sorry for interrupting you, Michael. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
So was it political? I know Bill Burr caught some shit because he apparently made a joke that bothered people, and
he had to pronounce it. I don't want to get canceled for doing the same thing that he did. I think it was a Latina name, or it was best.
You're giving
Latina
him credit.
Music,
You're giving him credit.
And he mispronounced it, and he was like, why the fuck did they choose me to, like, I know how to pronounce this? And it was hilarious because I love Bill Burr, and it was classic Bill Burr, just like a random moment, and then everyone was trying to cancel him.
And that's him making fun of himself.
Yeah.
Right. And
that
was
give the best Latin. It was like one of the awards that wasn't even the main one. It was like the best Latin mix, like contemporary album, like some random category.
Michael is completely canceling himself. It was like a shit award. It wasn't even a good award.
That's not nice.
Yeah. No, he's getting himself canceled with Bill Burr. It's like he gave away a shitty award to something useless, and it wasn't even a good.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's funny.
Ben is commenting. Well, I'm not going to show the comment because he's not here. But he just. I'm like, why are you commenting if you're not here, Ben?
Right.
Comment on that.
Ben got a new job, so Ben, work.
Yeah, work. Do your job, Ben.
Yeah.
We're doing your job for you.
Yeah. Were you screwing off when you were on this show?
This is a mutiny,
wow,
Ben.
what's happening here?
So actually.
Hi, Paulina.
So Michael is the opposite of me. I normally watch all of the award shows. I mean, like I said, look, I watched Trevor, bits and pieces of Trevor just because he's the boss and I wanted to see how he did. And I caught some of the new stuff after the fact, but yeah, I did this year. And normally I'm a diehard when it comes to the Golden Globes. To me, the Oscars is like the Super Bowl. I don't miss it. But this year I'm kind of like, I don't know if it's the year to do this.
We're just tired.
Yeah. And I think giving out trophies to millionaires this year, when people are just like, I just wanted $15 an hour and I didn't get it. I think it's just kind of, is Paulina checking. Paulina actually came to the Saturday show. So she was there.
Okay, she knows what happened.
Yeah, she knows. But it was. We're
not going to get into it.
No, it's not worth talking about. No. So, I mean, you tell me. I mean, with regards to the late night talk shows, look, there's been a shift. Colbert, we know for the last 4 years, has made talking points. It's not always comedy. It's not Carson. But then again, he's not Carson. He's Colbert.
Right.
So to me, is it, look, you're watching Colbert, this is what you're going to get? Or is it, look, man, go back to being funny? I don't know that anyone has the right to say to Colbert, go back to being funny if his audience wants that. And maybe he's just playing to his audience and not.
I think there's a couple things. I think there's a couple things going on. I think one, people are exhausted. Like, yeah,
I agree.
They're just, I am exhausted. I have done nothing and I'm exhausted. Right.
Yeah. Agree.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is that there are a lot of, and within that exhaustion, you still have these mass shootings going on, and that creates more exhaustion, more pain. And so there's some sort of, I think there's some sort of give and take. Like, you want to keep the dialogue going because it's healthy for people to talk about all the stuff that's happening in our country. But at the same time, it has been so overwhelming for the past year.
Escape. Right.
You have to have some sort of balance, and there's no balance right now.
And listen,
there hasn't been any.
No.
So it's just swinging.
And Michael, you're a huge sports fan. I saw that there was an international soccer player, Ibrahimovic, who tweeted to LeBron James, look, man, anytime you get involved in politics, it's not a good idea. And LeBron was just like, hey, listen, I'm political. It's what I do. I raise money for charities, this and that. And my whole thing is, listen, I would never tell someone shut up and dribble. That is not me. What my point is, though, if I turn on a basketball game, I want to watch a basketball game. That's not the place for the statement, so to be. And I think the NBA agreed with the audience.
Was he saying it during the NBA?
No. So, last year the NBA made a point of political statements all over the court, on the jerseys, everything else.
I think the kneeling is a good example. Like the players kneeling.
If you kneel, you can't.
The kneeling doesn't bother me. The kneeling doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me either. But I think it's a good example of the type of like response that certain people had.
I'm curious, Vince. Have you ever been told, like, you're political on Facebook, you're funny, but you have things that you say on Facebook, right? Has anyone ever sent you a message and said, stick to comedy? Because they do it to me all the time too. And I'm like, I'm not your fucking monkey.
And then, here's
let me just do comedy shit.
And I get the opposite too. So then I will get people that will reach out to me and be like, hey, look, you have a very unique perspective. You're a judge or a former judge. You're a lawyer. You tend to have your finger on the pulse of politics. We want to hear you do more politics. So you're never going to satisfy everybody.
Oh my God.
But my whole thing is, I think people are looking for somewhere to go that. So, for example, look, if I want to get into
they can come to my comedy show this Saturday. It'll be online. There may be a little bit of everything.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, I know to turn on the news if I want to hear the gun debate. When I turn on comedy, I'm expecting to hear comedy. And then I said to you guys, a friend of mine went to see Bruce Springsteen years ago, and he broke into the politics, and my friend was like, I'm going to get a beer. Went to the concession stand, is like, I don't need to hear that. And then I said to him afterwards, I'm like, well, you paid to see Bruce. He's like, no, I paid to hear Bruce sing. I'm like, no, the ticket says Bruce Springsteen. He could do whatever he wants to, and then you could choose to not go see him again. So, like, if I went on stage this weekend and I kind of started getting a little political, I would take the criticism of, listen, dude, the sign behind you says Comedy Cove. It doesn't say Political Cove. You should just be doing jokes here. I think those people would be in their right to say that to me in that venue. Am I wrong there?
I think it depends on the comic, because there are political comics that people go to see just for that perspective. Right. But I think that generally speaking, people, I know up here in Massachusetts, people are just like, I don't want to hear it anymore. But like I tried really hard when I was running shows, especially during the past 5 years, because I haven't had any shows since Biden. But during the previous presidential POTUS person, I tried really hard not to split the audience with politics, because that was important to me. Like, people are paying money. Money is money.
Yes.
That shifted for me this year or last year with George Floyd and everything. Like, I just don't care anymore. Like, if you are not a good human being and you don't care about other people, like, I don't really care if you come to my show or not. I just don't care.
Now, Paulina's
so that's
saying,
shifted.
So here's Paulina's comment: sports, late night TV, movies. This is where people go to escape the grind of everyday life. Mental rest, not to have it rubbed in our face. And again, look, I agree with that sentiment, especially.
I disagree with that, actually.
Okay, jump in. Go ahead.
If you don't mind. I mean, I think that
yeah.
It's in the hands of the entertainers, right? Like the soccer players, the NBA players. Like the NBA is the NBA players. If you don't want to watch the NBA because you think the NBA is too political, that's your choice. But you're not the NBA. The players are the NBA. You know what I mean? They make it. It's their sport. Their sport.
I agree.
Especially with movies, right? Because anyway.
I agree with you, whistle to whistle, meaning from the moment the game starts to the moment the game ends. I agree with you. But let me ask you this: what if in between at halftime, okay, you're watching the game, or during the middle of the game, they say, listen, we're going to take a timeout here and just remind everyone, register to vote, do this, do that. Like literally during the middle of the game, I would be like, wait a minute, what's going on? And Bill Burr did a bit about it, how the NFL wears pink for the month of October as cancer awareness. And he's like, look, if we're hanging out together during the middle of a movie, if I turn and look to you and say, by the way, my cousin died of cancer. It's like that's right. Yeah. And Bird did it on Conan, and I want to give him all the credit for that. And it's one of those things where you say, yeah, at what point do you need to separate it a little bit? Like, again, I don't mind the kneeling. I don't care after the game when the players all kneel at midfield to say a prayer. To me, once the game starts to once the game ends, just let it be the game. That portion of the game.
I think they mostly are that way, aren't they?
Yeah, with the exception of what the NBA did last year. I think the NHL too had signs around the arena because there was no fans, where they had portions of the stand blocked off, and there was the hashtags all over the place, whatever it was.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. So should that,
when you have the majority of your players and they're black, and you're not recognizing the fact that they're black.
Well, this was the NHL doing it as well.
I don't even view it from like a race perspective. I view it from
I don't either.
A business perspective. Like if you're a conservative and you're pro-capitalism, and businesses should be able to do whatever they want.
Wait. That would imply that if you're conservative and pro-capitalism, that you're anti-black.
No.
No, that's not what
I'm
he's
saying. That when I think of these issues with like the kneeling, right? I don't think about when I think about people. The reason I think that it should be allowed is not a race argument for me. It's more so a conservative argument for me, a capitalist argument for me, where it's the businesses and the players who are the business. It's their decision to do whatever they want because it's their business. And if you don't like that, then you can start a new business and go somewhere else. And it's inconsistent for conservatives who are pro-capitalist to like think that a business shouldn't be able to act however they want. That's my problem with it.
All right. So now here's the question. So here's the question I posed to you guys. All right. So we're seeing that the numbers are going down. Okay. So viewership in all sports is down. Viewership in television is down. Viewership in news is down.
Viewership on Facebook is down.
Everything. So at what point do you say, okay, we have to make a business decision as to, what are we? Are we going to be what everyone else is being right now, or do we kind of morph back into being what we were always considered to be?
Have you ever?
It's not
a good question.
I have a question for you. Just so a question to answer a question.
Have
you ever? Yeah, Vince. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Have you ever, or either of you? It doesn't matter. Have you ever gone past a car accident, like a really bad car accident, and you always slow down and you look, right? I don't want to look because I don't want to throw anybody in my chin, but you look, right? And if it's really bad and you see something really traumatic, like someone got their head cut off or something, that's going to stay with you for a while, right? But you stop and you look at that and you can't stop looking at it. Everybody stops to look at it. Right. Everybody gets a little screwed up because they looked at it. Like you can have nightmares from it. You can be traumatized from it. Like there's a lot of stuff that happens physically, physiologically, right?
Gotcha.
I'm making this as a political statement in the sense that I think we were all so like just zoomed in to the news and everything that was coming out of anyone's mouth, like mostly Trump, you know, it just, I think there's some sort of like, there are things that Joe Biden's doing right now that I can't stand, but he's not creating this.
He can't stand.
Huh?
I was making a joke about him tripping up the stairs.
Oh, that
He
he
can't
can't.
stand
He
it.
can't stand
Yeah.
it. There's like,
Look at
I mean, there's
Michael
always
went
those
right
things,
after it.
right? There's always those things. So my point is it possible that people are just so exhausted that to turn on the TV and watch anything that has
I have the answer for you.
go
And
ahead.
the answer for you is this: was the exhaustion created by Trump, or was the exhaustion created by the attention to Trump? Because you have
I
to
think
admit
both.
one thing.
Both.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I agree. I think the microscope under which his presidency was viewed, and we're going to see this from now on because of social media, because of all of the channels on TV, because of the internet. I think everything is becoming so under a microscope, so magnified. You know, every single step everyone makes is now gonna. It's just constant, and I think the
that's why people
problem
are
is
walking away from it.
yeah, and I think the problem is too. You know, the oligarchs that run the news media just they latch onto a story like nothing else is going on in the world, and that's happening mainly here. I've noticed when I've traveled, and I love when I travel overseas to watch the news there. Like CNN International is nothing like CNN here. You know,
Really?
and yeah, like it's actual news stories about like, you know, what's going on with the farmers in India. You know, you're gonna get stuff happening in different parts of the world with regards to, you know, what's happening in France this past weekend with people protesting in France about lockdowns and protest in Germany about lockdowns, and then, you know, what the World Health Organization is doing. So there's so much other news, and like even the coverage of Taiwan. So for example, Taiwan had maybe the best pandemic response to any country in the world. And if you watch international news, like I watch Italian news or the CBC or BBC, how, well, why did no one hear what was going on with Taiwan? Is that because of China's influence worldwide and their influence on the WHO? And like that story was like a really big international story that no one covered.
What
There's
happened?
another. Taiwan had this amazing response that they probably were the ultimate model, even better than Sweden.
Better than New
And
Zealand?
yeah, and the thing
Really?
is, yeah, and the thing is, no one ever heard about it because a lot of people feel the Chinese influence. One of the other things that came out about a month ago was the release of the whistleblower report with regards to the supposed gas attack in Syria, and it turns out may not have been a gas attack after all. And we were just bombing them, and there was a lot of misinformation. So, you know, America could do that we go to war thing. So, you know, that's like another story that no one's talking about.
Yeah, that's all news to me.
Yeah, the people
But
in
I
the
can tell you that
hospital.
Meghan Markle, I can tell you a lot about her.
Right. So this is the thing. So we tend to focus, you know, we can only like, we can't walk and chew bubble gum in the United States. It's, you know, it's race, shooting, race, shoot, you know, so that seems to be the thing right now. So anyway,
LGBTQ.
yes, I do want to get into something else that because I want to keep this time short on this episode. So one of the jokes I did do over the weekend had to do with President Biden tripping up the stairs. And I don't want to do the joke here because it's still a good one. And I want to use it at the clubs and I don't want to waste it. But then I put up a meme about Biden falling up the stairs. And I put up Kamala Harris just bought Joe Biden a Stairmaster. Now, that can be taken two ways, right? And it could be taken two ways. She bought him a Stairmaster to get better at walking upstairs, or she bought him a Stairmaster because she wants to be president. So that could have gone either way, and that was why I did the joke the way I did, because anyone could read it both ways, either way, whichever way you see it. Someone said to me in response to that on a private message, you know, it's not funny to be making fun of Biden falling because he's old. And I'm like, no, he's a public figure who tripped up the stairs. I can make fun of him. And listen, Michael, you're young to remember this, but if you watch Saturday Night Live dating back to the 70s, Chevy Chase used to make fun of Gerald Ford who constantly fell and tripped. So you're as a young person, do you think it's elder abuse to me make fun of Joe Biden as a president falling upstairs?
No, I definitely view it as he's a public figure and he's the president. So
and they fall. Look, Pence had a fly on his head.
Wait, have you ever fallen?
Pence tripped
have you
upstairs.
ever fallen?
I've never fallen in my life. Of course I've fallen. Everybody falls.
Have you ever fallen in public though, when you're like walking down the street and no one's around and you trip and you're like, oh, you look around and you're like, make sure no one's, and then you just walk straight again?
I've done the trip save move where you trip and then go into the jog.
Yes.
Yeah, I've done the trip save move. I've done the open the door and it doesn't open and like you like smash into it and it's like, oh shit, that said pull, not push. I've done that move. And I laugh at myself because it's funny. Eileen always laughs at me for doing shit like that.
I would die. I would die laughing at you.
Eileen's daughter, Emily, we have this thing. We find people falling hysterical. Like we laugh hard when we see somebody fall. So I looked at this person. I was just like, nah, that's on you, man. He's a public figure. He tripped up the stairs. I made a joke about it. Get over it. If you don't like it, too bad. I'm not gonna feel bad because he's old. You know what? Hey, man, get a walker or some shit. I don't know.
Steph and I were at Caroline's and we were having this. I wouldn't say it was like a fight.
Those stairs are treacherous, by the way.
I don't like those stairs. I've had 8 surgeries on my leg. I don't want to have any more. Like that will kill me. But we were outside. We were going to Starbucks across from the Late Show, and we were having this argument about why can't Steph drive the RV, right? And I'm like, because you only see out of one eye at a time. Like she has monocular vision, no depth perception at all. I'm like, I'm not trying to be a dick or mean about it. I'm just like, I have anxiety. This will kill me. This will kill me. And she goes, well, I think it's stupid. And you know what she did? She walked right into the fucking glass wall.
Hysterical.
I was like, and this is why.
So, Jess, you'll remember this. So Caroline's on a packed night, that one table next to the stage that you'd have to walk past. Yeah. There were times where you really had to negotiate the table, and then the stage was high. Yeah. And it was just one step. Yeah. Well, the one night that I'm closing, I don't know if you were there. There was the one night I was closing the show. The place was packed, and 3 straight comics tripped on their way up to the stage. And it was the show that Francois Gordon was on. Do you remember Francois? She was actually injured in a car accident, and she went up with a leg break. So 3 straight people went on stage and tripped. Then she walked up on stage, no problem. I get up, I close the show, and I go, can you guys believe that 3 people that can walk just fucking tripped up the stage and a person that can't walk made it up here with no problem? That's and the audience, everyone laughed. Francois laughed. Everyone like that. And she said to me afterwards, she's like, I'm so pissed off I didn't say that and you did. And it was, to me, it was just, it's funny. It is what it is. I mean, I even have a handicap joke that I did with a person that was in a wheelchair in the front row. And half the crowd moaned. The family came up to me afterwards and they were like, thank you for doing that joke. We can't tell you how many times we take our son to a show and everyone looks past the chair, around the chair. No one ever talks to him. Yeah. And you were the only comedian that ever talked to him. And our son loves comedy. Thank you for doing that. Can he meet? And I was like, yeah, whatever. So, I mean, I don't know, Michael, Michael, you come from the cancel culture. I'm sorry to do this to you, but you do. Is that taboo? Is it taboo to make these jokes about handicap and stuff like that? Or are you? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I saw an Instagram. I saw an Instagram post the other day that was like, I mean, this isn't the same thing, but it was I don't know, Jess. This came to my mind. Do you have medically diagnosed anxiety?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you didn't and you said the term "I have anxiety," some people would want to cancel you because they think that there's too many people say "Oh, I have OCD" or "I have ADHD" or "I have anxiety." And I saw a post that someone was like, "Stop using these terms so liberally. These are serious mental health disorders. If you use the term anxiety and you don't have anxiety. It's not your word. You can't use it. And I'm just like, dude, how far are we going to go?
See, I feel like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't say it on this. I can't say it on this platform. I feel like if you stuck a piece of corn up your ass, you could be so wound up tight that it would just pop. You make your own damn popcorn. That's how tight people are.
Yeah. So my point is, everything's
That's too much.
now.
That's too much.
But no, let me ask you this. Seriously, as a young person around young people, though, do you guys actually believe this for the most part, or like in your private corners, do you like, oh man, come on, we gotta lighten up? What the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, is this what we're gonna be like forever, or is this just like a 2021 thing? Like, do you guys like have those conversations?
Like, everyone's tired, right? Like I'm so burnt out on like hearing people.
I think you know what it is though. It's been this progressive thing, and I talk about this in my stand up. Like I say,
but it's not progressive. It's woke. It's not progressive.
Woke. We're woke. Yeah. So I do a bit about being heavy, and I don't mind talking about this. So I say a little bit about myself. I hate being fat. I mean, not enough to do anything about it, but I do hate it, right?
Yeah.
And then you know, a little bit of I do some stuff, and then I say it's interesting because I am no longer allowed to call myself fat anymore. Because
according to who?
If I'm around a millennial, they'll be like, "Oh my God, don't call yourself fat. It hurts my feelings when you say that."
Oh
right?
My God, it's crazy.
It's so insane. It hurts my feelings when you say that about yourself. Don't do it. That's body shaming or fat shaming. I'm like, no, you little shit. I am a fat woman. You can be confused about the woman part.
I mean, I'm bald.
I'm okay with it. Like, I know what I've gone through.
What am I, follically challenged now? I mean, what the? Stop it.
But the whole thing is I try to explain it to them. Like, listen, I've had 8 surgeries. I blew out my back in the Army. I really screwed up my legs in the military. So if I can do all of those things, I can call myself fat. And then everybody starts clapping. Yay, you're fat. You're fat. Right. And I'm like, that is not okay.
No.
Don't clap for me being fat. It's the most amazing thing, right? But here's what happened, right? So I talk about this, and I'm like, there's this thing that's happening in America where there's like this, I call it new millennial language. Like, this is in my set. It's new millennial language. Like 20 years ago when I said, hey, I'm gay, people would be like, oh my God, you're gay. This is disgusting. Right. But now they're like, oh my God, you're gay. You're in. Yay!
But yeah, it's like me and Vinny
really
now, like
about it. Like,
heterosexual white males.
We're screwed.
Like, I can walk down the road with my wife's hand in my hand, and maybe not in Alabama or Mississippi, but I can do these things because the dialogue has changed.
That's crazy.
And it's continuing to change, but it can be exhausting. And I think,
can I give you an example real quick? A funny example?
Yes.
I was
Michael,
talking.
Thanks, Paulina.
With someone who I work with in public defense, and they said 2 things early in the conversation when we all have this belief that, you know, people who do something violent when they're young shouldn't be treated with the amount of harshness, if that's the word, that they are from the criminal justice system, blah, blah, blah. And so we were talking about a client who's a black guy who committed a violent crime, and she was like, well, he should be forgiven. He should be forgiven because of all these things, right? And then we're moving on. We have a different conversation. She was like talking about how this guy asked someone what country they were from. And she was like, how could you, as a cis male, ask someone what country they're from? And I'm like, so let me get this straight, as Judge Vinny would say. Let me get this straight. Someone can shoot someone but deserves forgiveness but if you're a cis white male, you can't ask someone what country they're from. And I was like, the standards have.
And I'm going to tell you, I always love asking people what country they're from because I want to know about their culture. I'm asking
because you can't ask.
It's not just limited to cis white guys.
I'm fucking INS. I'm not trying to get you thrown out of the country by asking. And I do this all the time. If I hear an accent, I'll ask. Listen, when I went to Italy and I started speaking Italian, the immediate reaction to me wasn't I was an American speaking Italian. They thought I was Sicilian because I have a little bit of that Southern twang. So it's like hearing someone from down south speak, English. No one offends me by saying, oh, you're Sicilian as opposed to Italian. I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's my accent. So if someone says, you sound like you're from Texas or Arizona or Arkansas as opposed to whatever. I mean, look, when I hear a Southern accent, I want to be able to say, so what state are you from? What is it? Is that Carolinas? Is that everything shouldn't be an offense. Sometimes it's, you want to know where the person's from so you could celebrate that. It's not always accusatory, like you're going to fucking call the cops on them. I mean, this is the reaction. This is, it's not always an interrogation.
It'll settle down.
And I want to clarify, if anyone, I mean, my college friends are listening to this, which they probably aren't, but I don't think that like white men are oppressed in any fashion. I just think I just think that the standards are too, for everyone, not just white men. I think that the standards are getting absurd. Like
Sarah Silverman.
I can't say I have anxiety unless I've had
Sarah
a
went
medical diagnosis, and that makes me somehow like mental health phobic. Then
Sarah Silverman had this really great thing about. I don't know if you saw this.
It's been a long day, Judge Vinny.
She was taught some white dude sent in a question to her saying something about you know, good for equality, blah 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 blah, and then like mindfully, she's like, he was sort of mindful about it, said, I think it's harder for white guys now. I don't know if you saw this clip. It was amazing.
She had an amazing clip this week where she's like, you know, I don't want to identify with a political party anymore. She goes, because progressives are not becoming. Progressives are now elitists. She goes, and that's not what I want to be. I want to be progressive, and you can't have progress if you're going to be an elitist. That too. Yeah, and it was brilliant. But you know what? Look, it's coming from Sarah. It's coming from Bill Maher just about every week now. It's coming from a lot of comedians, and I think we are the last protectors of free speech. I hate to say it. So I think that's why you're getting a lot of this. I want to open up the floor to anybody watching. If any of you guys got a topic that want to just throw something out, we want to keep this to 45 minutes tonight and wrap it up in a couple minutes. So Danielle, I love hearing about different cultures. So I'm the same way. When I ask someone where they're from, it's because I want to be familiar with where they're from and show them the respect of acknowledging that. Because I know little, you know, information here and there about different countries. So to me, I can learn something from a person by finding out where they're from, as opposed to it being accusatory. I don't understand that. Everyone is so busy now judging because they feel judged. Well, that's the other thing. So one of the things that Bill Maher, and I want to give Maher credit for this, said on his show, 80% of people are opposed to the political correctness currently in our country, but yet only 62% of the people are afraid to talk about it for fear of being canceled or losing their job or whatever. So basically everyone's against it, but people are afraid to say they're against it because it's going to be a backlash on them. So
what are they against?
They're just against the wokeness that we're seeing. And
I mean, look, if you're using examples like Michael just said, like, don't say you have anxiety because that's going too far. Pepe Le Pew thing.
That could be a good point though, too. Like, you could say that, but don't assume that the person who makes that mistake is like immoral. That's what we see too much of. Is like, how could you? It's like, well, I didn't know. Tell me that you take offense to it, and I'll try to stop. But don't just like call me out
exactly
on the subject.
I
can't stand that.
Yeah, don't all of a sudden punish me for it. Paula, I'm a Russian Jewish immigrant. I love when people ask me about my culture. I love asking people about theirs. Exactly. It's you want to know about. I did a whole bit. Oh my God! Friday night there was a great improv moment where someone from the crowd was of Polish descent, and I said, so who's Polish in your family? And she goes, my grandparents. I'm like, what did it skip a generation? So she looks at me, and everyone started laughing, and she looked at me and she realized what she said, because if your grandparents are Polish, I hate to break it to you, your parents were Polish too. So I said, what did your parents get, like a vaccine or something? So, and we had fun with it, and everyone just went with it. And God, I love that comedy crowds are so different than the internet for that purpose. You can really get into, let's say, Eileen, they aren't against, they just want to be accepted. So they fall into this bizarre narrative. Yeah, I think that's it. I think people just want to, live their lives, go about their lives. Don't bother me. Fine, I'll do and say whatever I have to. Just don't cancel me for saying something that is so benign and dumb that I'm going to lose a complete livelihood.
Talking about the Turkish girl on Saturday night.
Oh, yes, there was a girl from Turkey that was in the audience, and we were talking about different religions, and she is, you know, obviously she's Muslim, and she's like, I do Ramadan, and I said, I'm Italian. I enjoy food too much. I don't think I could do that where I don't eat where the sun is up. I would have to live in like New York City and just find, you know, 5 o'clock, go behind a building where there's a shadow and be like, I think it's dark. Is it dark? I think the sun is set somewhere. And just, you know, live in an area where the mountains are really high, where it seems to get darker faster. And she was like cracking up laughing. And we had a great exchange over it as to, I would live it like, you can't do Ramadan in like Iceland. You know what I'm saying? You can't be Muslim in Iceland where it's dark, like literally for 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Because that's like a lot of eating to do really fast, and you're going to get your stomach sick anyway. Tracy Dawn thought I was Polish, found out I was adopted in my 20s. Italian, Irish. Imagine you grow up and everybody's doing Polish jokes, and then you're not even Polish.
That's
oh my
terrible.
God.
And you're taking offense to them too.
Yes. And then now all of a
How
sudden,
dare you, sir? I'm Polish.
but the best is when she finds out she's Italian and Irish, because she's Italian and Irish, then she could be racist and be like, screw the Polacks. So that must have been fun. Rich, my grandmother was from Aleppo, Syria. Not much left in the city after all the bombing took. Yeah, I mean, look at, you know, and now Rich is Syrian, and I know from dealing with Rich on some of the stuff he posts, extremely conservative. So go figure. You can't automatically assume certain things. No wars in the Middle East for years, and then a month in office bombing. So yeah, I don't know. He bombed the country that had nothing to do with anything. So yeah, I think we jumped on a lot of topics here. American and Assyrian. Yeah. Guys, we're back. Sorry we missed. What we're going to do, because Ben got a job. So Ben is working.
Yay, Ben.
Yes,
Yay,
congratulations, Ben, for working. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch this to Tuesday nights, because I love Ben. And he's a great part of this show. And I want to have Ben as part of the show, so we want to bring him back in. So hopefully Tuesday nights work for you, everyone that watches and chimes in. Jess, thank you as always for setting this up, the producer director.
You're
Michael,
welcome.
all over it tonight. Love to see the energy. You're back, Michael. I think it was the haircut that was slowing you down.
I think it's the haircut. Your haircut looks really great.
It's a new me. I told you.
He's much more aerodynamic. He's aerodynamic. He's the new
offering.
Michael. Yes. Everybody that was watching, thank you for watching. Again, always please send us your comments, send us your questions, chime in. We love having this. We love interacting with you guys. That's why we want to do this live and not just tape it and post it. Like, subscribe, share, follow, spread the word. Again, it's just, hey, we're being a distraction. We're trying to be that welcome distraction that everybody wants from the news and the seriousness. So thank you for joining us. Jess, take us out of here. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
See ya.